What up, what up? Peace and power to all the descendants of my ancient mother. My name is Brother Legend. What's going on? Ashe, ashe, oh. Come on in. Just starting up the live. What's going on with y'all? It's been a minute. It's been a minute, but I'm back. Blacker than ever. I'm back and I'm black, baby. What up, what up? Yo, is it me or like is it just me or is everybody trying to tell black people who to vote for right now? Am I tripping? Am I tripping? Are they telling everybody else this? Like they telling everybody who to vote for, or is it just us? Can somebody answer that for me? Are they telling all communities who to vote for right now? Are they bringing out what's that dude's name? I forgot his name. Are they bringing out Jonah Hill to get the Ish community to tell them who to vote for? You know what I'm saying? Are they bringing out Jackie Chan to tell the Asian community who to vote for? Or is it just us? Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. Am I tripping? Seem like Palestinians are mad because black people want to vote for who they want to vote for. Republicans want black people to vote for them. Democrats want black people to vote for them. It just seems like everybody like really hyper fixated on making sure black people, and that's the funny thing too, because it's like when we talk about being black first, black people are quick to remind you that they're part of other communities too. And, you know, they're not just black. They're more than just black. They're part of other communities as well. But yet, nobody that I've seen is calling on other communities to vote for anybody else. I haven't noticed that. I've just noticed black people. Even other intersections that include black people have not been getting hounded about who they vote for, like black people have. Am I tripping? Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. You know, I only know a little bit about politics. I'm not really that political. Just seems that way. Seems like a fixation. Making sure we vote for who they want us to vote for. Seemed like a obsession. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. Anyway, welcome to the live. Everybody want black people to vote for them, but don't got no agenda for black people that's going to liberate them. No one has an agenda to liberate black people. They have an agenda to make your oppression more comfortable. Oh yeah, they got that. Oh yeah, we give you free help. We give you health care. It ain't gonna be free. It'll be reduced. You know, we'll give you some health care. You know what I'm saying? We'll give you justice. How about that? Would you like some just a little bit of justice? Not like total justice. Whoa. We have to negotiate the amount of justice we're going to give you need to grows. we're not going to give you like the promise that everyone is treated fairly, and wherever there's the most harm, those people get the most help. No, we're not going to do all that. Hold on now. Hold on now. We still we're not going to get justice for Sandra Bland. We're not going to get justice for Mike Brown. We're not going to get justice for Eric Garner. But we'll I don't know. We'll give you Juneteenth. Juneteenth? That good enough for you? You guys like Juneteenth, right? Yeah, barbecue. You know what? We'll even make money on you. We'll make money on your community. We'll make money from your community on Juneteenth. We'll do little specials. Walmart will make Juneteenth ice cream. Yeah, we'll have a blast. Be a good time. Celebrating the fact that we enslaved you. Yeah, well, we're celebrating your slavery. We're not celebrating your liberation on Juneteenth. I know y'all don't believe white folks are celebrating the end of the institution of slavery on Juneteenth while still benefiting from the institution of slavery, right? Y'all don't, come on. This is the conscious corner of TikTok. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? This is the conscious corner of TikTok. If they still benefiting from something and they're celebrating Juneteenth with you, let me be the first to tell you, my friend, they are celebrating that they had y'all enslaved. They're not celebrating that they no longer have y'all. They're saying, thank you, because of your ancestors, my great-great-grandfather had money to pass down to me, and I get to enjoy the privileges of this white skin. I don't really have to think about race when I go apply for a job or if my wife is pregnant, So I'll celebrate with you. Yeah. Woohoo, Juneteenth. I mean, because you can't benefit from something and, still celebrate that it's over when it's not over, right? Come on now. Anyway, the politics. It seems like there's been a lot of stuff going on. OG Tony, why the hell do you keep putting black and Mexican in my comments? Like, what are you trying to say? You from Mexico, my friend? What are you trying to say? Like, spit it out. What's happening right now? Like, it's the weirdest thing to comment. Like, you're just in my comments, black and Mexican. What are you?
No,
What are
it's
you?
because I see black African first. I'm like, nah, it's Mexican and black together.
Oh, he saw this as like a gang opportunity. Like you think of things as like a gang.
Hey, I just look at it like we together and anything, man.
Nah, we ain't together. Anyway, I don't know what the hell that mean. African people were enslaved in Mexico too, right? Y'all know that, right? I need to go down that rabbit hole with y'all. Like, what the hell is he talking about? What the hell is he talking about? What? You could be Mexican first. Go ahead, cabron. You go ahead and be Mexican first. Let me know how that works for you. If I was you, I'd be indigenous first. You know what I'm saying? Because under the influence of white supremacy, Mexican first is still problematic to indigenous Americans that was here before it was called Mexico. So that white tea supremacy ran in hell on y'all too. So I wouldn't identify with the state first. I mean, that turns into fascism real quick. But anyway, yeah. So been a lot of discourse, a lot of people trying to convince brothers and sisters to go one way or the other. Some of y'all saw the DNC and hit my inbox talking about they won you over or they winning you over. Y'all, we can't be emotional Pan-Africans, y'all. Pan-Africanism is business. I'm gonna say it again. Pan-Africanism is business, y'all. I actually posted the screenshot, Brandon. So if you want to check it out, it's on my. It's actually on my Twitter. I responded to it. So it was a tweet. You can check it out. But yeah, saying that. Basically, the DNC performances and all that has won black people over to vote for Kamala. And I feel like y'all need to be reminded Pan-Africanism is just business. You can't be an emotional Pan-African. You have to be an intellectual Pan-Africanism. An intellectual Pan-Africanist goes where the research leads them. We don't go where our emotions take us. It's not just about your emotions. Peace, Auntie. Ashe, good to hear your voice.
Ooh, I need some help because Lord, like, today is the 193rd anniversary of Nat Turner's rebellion. That's what
Hey,
I'm looking at today.
all right.
I'm using that to inspire me, and I think all black people. That's what I've been trying to do on some of these lives this morning too. No avail, but remember, like you said, standing on business. That was standing on business.
That was standing on
Okay,
business.
and
Absolutely.
okay, and all black people need to understand it. And take a day like today. I said from now on, I'm gonna take this day. It's my mother's birthday too,
Hey, Ashe.
to self-reflect and look at what are you doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Our ancestors paid the ultimate price. So, what rebellion are you working on? What are you working on to free yourself? And if it's nothing, then you need to shut the hell up. And I can't believe I had to kind of go in on somebody before he cut me off this morning. How can a Pan-African, how can a black person, period, be so gullible to these messages and they think it's a flex? Where? All they said when they all they said was we're not Trump. That's all. They ain't giving you nothing for that, right?
Yeah.
And then, trying to say like this is like we getting a flex because we got this black woman. What? Who ain't really? All I ask people is like, why don't you never hear nothing from her daddy? Where's her father? He never showed up to nothing, did he? Nothing. You know what I mean? So that speaks volumes
Yeah.
right there. I mean, to me, it does. And I just don't, oh, we're not Trump, we're not Trump. But, all of the Obamas making the cute little thing. What is that? What did anything? If you're not Trump, then what are you? And then what are you promising to do for black people? You keep saying, oh, Trump didn't do nothing for black people. What have you done? Name me, other than Juneteenth. Juneteenth, Black Hip Hop Month. What have you done specifically for black people? Can you tell me? And they can't.
No, they
They'll
can't.
come up with all these so-called policies and but no, not the rising tide lifts all boats bullshit. I'm talking about specifically. So here I'm like, all of y'all black people up on here shredding each other, ripping each other to shreds. For what? Did you get this upset about Sonia Massey? Do you get this upset about any unalivened black people? Do you get? I don't get it. I mean, it's plain as the nose on your face. I don't understand. So, okay, thank you for letting me vent. You always help me after a hard
appreciate
day
you, Auntie.
of dealing with need to grows.
Ashe to Nat Turner, man. That's amazing. Well, yeah. So that's interesting. One thing I've noticed that the Democratic Party keep doing is saying, if you don't vote for us, you're going to get Trump, as if they're the only two options. So it's kind of like they may disagree on a lot of things, but they agree to make sure that both Trump and Kamala make sure that they're the only two options people know, so they don't lose votes to third party candidates. That's one thing I've noticed. Like, they don't want to lose votes to Jill Stein and what's his name, Cornel West. So they make sure it's either us or you're gonna get Trump. So what's going on, Poetic Logic? What's going on, brother?
What's good, brother?
Peace.
You know, I said it before. I am so disenchanted with the whole politics business. And I've definitely grown and matured to see past the nonsense. Because they got me with this whole oh yes we can nonsense and like getting Obama in the thing. But I didn't think about the implication and what it actually meant. For us as black people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I'm using it. I'm trying to be a little bit more, constructive and thinking about what I do before I do it, especially when it comes to like getting involved with any sort of politics. And, this is why it is crucial even now that we need to be black first, African first, because we're just being manipulated and used to uphold these same institutions of oppression. The same institutions in which that aren't gonna liberate us. All they're gonna do is just reinforce the same things in which that keep going, just to benefit white people. So I'm not for it, And I know that there might be some Africans who like stand in solidarity with other people, whether you're pro Palestine or pro Israel. But the thing of it is, like, we don't have time to be dealing with that. We got our own house that needs to, be straightened up first before we worry about anybody else. So,
Yeah.
that's just how I feel on the matter.
I agree. And one little small point I wanted to make before the next guest comes up. Why are we still fighting for the same shit that Nat Turner was fighting for? Can somebody answer that?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same exact thing. Our humanity and our freedom.
Mm-hmm.
What's different? Same fight.
I heard that. Carney, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Black, 72.
Okay. Talk to us, Auntie.
Well, black people have to, if they want to, get together, they have to have the same spirit. And if you don't have the same spirit, it could be confusion.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have the same spirit, think the same way. If you don't, it's just gonna be confusion. That's all, brother, right now.
Okay. Well, she ain't wrong. She said she's very straight to the point. Appreciate you giving us that, Carney. As far as understanding that we're African, that we could just start right there. If black people could relate themselves to Africa the same way Europeans and white people relate themselves back to ancient Rome, we'd be much better off. If we could at least agree that we have Africa in common and start to, create culture around protecting that identity that we share, then we'll, of course, start to have political ideology in alignment with protecting that culture and protecting our identity as a people. So it does start with just acknowledging your African roots. It just starts there. It's actually better for your mental health as a black person. According to psychologist Rita Walker, it actually is better for your mind in oppression to identify with your African identity, your African roots, your African heritage. So that's the
Thank
thing.
you. I was on a live this morning with a Need to Grow talking about corn and what can where
I was there.
corn
I was there. It was bad. It was really bad.
and I was like, we was like, well, what about okra? I ain't gonna talk about no okra. I'm talking about corn.
Wait,
It is funny sometimes. These pretendians, Lord
that's
God.
crazy. That's funny.
But,
How
your
we
brother
do?
Legend,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah, did you when I was when you guys were talking, when you were on the panel, you were talking to that young brother as far as him starting his own initiative. I think that a lot of what he was saying did make sense in terms of music and media, like providing a message, especially for the youth. Because
Who are you talking about?
it was this one young guy in which he was kind of explaining his own initiative that he was kind of working on. But I do believe that yes, through music and media, we can further enforce the message and protect African culture. Because right now, and I believe you said this, that right now the culture is not designed right now to protect us. It's to further exploit us. You know what I mean?
Destroy us directly. Yeah.
Well,
Exploitation
yeah,
being
yeah.
part of that. Yeah. Yeah. We have a self-destructive culture replaced with what was originally a culture meant to protect us from oppression. It has been flipped and regurgitated back to us by our oppressor in the form of self-destruction. We got artists that are heralded in our community, lifted up, that are scammers, gangsters, but they're not being paid by our community to promote these self-destructive rhetorics. So that's the thing. How we do it? Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. How we do it? You're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, my bad. 32, male, him.
Your race?
Black.
Talk to us.
All right. So just off that last point y'all just talked about the rappers and the music industry, being an aid for us to kind of grow ourselves as a community. If we just change the narrative and not letting ourselves be, perpetuated by the white man that's owning the industry themselves, then yeah, that's cool. I get that all. But my issue is that I don't believe that we will ever, as black folk, really get to a place where we're like the Jews are. I don't think we'll get to a place where like we are with the Italians or any of those folks that we all can band together, because the simple thing is, to me, in my mind, I think that we have too much pride. We've built ourselves on this fake image of who we think we are versus knowing who we are, genetically, where we, granted, we all came from slavery. We're not saying we all came from slavery, but we know the American history, they only put slavery on us, and we don't have any real connection back to our homeland. But consider the fact
Speak
that
for yourself.
I'm sorry, what part do I need to speak for myself on? I can go to my neighbor's house.
You don't have
right
a
now.
connection back
I
to
can go
your
to my neighbor's
homeland.
house right now and then knock that out. So what point do I need to, what point do I need to know about myself?
What's your neighbor got
All
to do
of
anything?
it.
My neighbor means that if you don't know where your roots are, so you ran your genealogy test, your family knows your family history all the way back to the beginning?
I don't have to do
Oh,
anything.
so you
All
don't
I
really
gotta do
know
is
that. So
look.
you just need to know that you're African American. You know that you're
I didn't say
originated
what
from
I
Africa.
did or
That's the
didn't
basic.
do, but
Huh?
I said I don't really need to know much to know that I'm an
You know that you're
African.
just black. Right.
No.
So I just did my genealogy test, right? So I just did my genealogy test. I just did that 2 weeks ago. And I didn't get it. I didn't do it 2 weeks ago. I just got it back 2 weeks ago. And I just found out how much I'm deeply rooted into Africa. I thought I might have been mixed with some white folk here and there or some Spanish folk here and there. Not even a little bit. 100%, not even 100%, but like I'm Congolese. I'm from the Congo. I got Tongo. I got Canadian.
How you from the Congo if the Congo started in the 60s?
Say again?
How you from the Congo if the Congo
I mean,
started
right,
in the 60s?
Let's just use basic thinking here, right? So people who were originally from Congo, right, during their time had children, and those children had children and children and children.
They weren't
I didn't
from
come
the
directly
Congo,
from it. I'm a derivative from it. I'm an African American. But who made me today tells me, based off of where my geology test takes me back to, it shows me my original status from where the.
But what I'm saying is the nations that you brought up just now, they're not in African languages.
They were European. Recognized. Most of the names that we even call them today are not even the original fucking names. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss.
You call them today, so that's again. That's this. You're doing a thing where you're ignorant of shit, and you think everyone's ignorant.
You know what's really crazy is that you call it ignorant, bro, but you at the same time you just sit here
I
trying
ain't
to
gonna get yelled at on my own phone. That's one thing I don't do is yell at grown men on my phone. If you want to be, if you gotta yell to get your point across, then you go ahead and be ignorant somewhere else. But I have a connection to Africa every time I look in the mirror, so I don't know what he's talking about. I'm looking at myself in this phone right now. Woo! Look at that African. I see Africa all over me. Shout out to the Africans in here, man.
Yes.
Don't make no
Let's
sense.
pour a little bit out the corner for all the brothers and sisters that ain't here. That's African libation, you dummy.
Yeah,
Oh
and that's
my
the
God.
thing, right? I actually brought up a pretty big implication in terms of the DNA testing, the 28andMe. Do you think that it's something in which that people should invest in, or should we actually, disregard it because it can be a distraction?
No, I think it's good now that we have the technology to be able to trace back your lineage to certain ethnic groups in Africa. I think that's really cool. But even the people in Africa are mixed with other types of Africans. So, when it comes to our people, as Africans, the whole continent belongs to us, and we belong to the continent. So. That's how I look at it. You can look at DNA to see, what ethnicity, you're mostly from, but I'm pretty sure my mom has a bunch of ethnicities. My dad had a bunch of different ethnicities, and they came together. They didn't know, what they was mixing what with what, and even on the continent, so it's just we mixed all over. At the end of the day, we Africans, however you look at it.
We're the most genetically diverse people on the planet in Africa. So, I mean, and what are people tripping on?
There's a brother on here called African Advice Channel, and he's a Pan-African as well. I believe he's from Kenya. But he's from the motherland, and this brother, I showed my wife his videos. This brother looked just like my nephew, like twins. like I'm like looking at him. I'm like, you can't tell me this is not my nephew. They just got a different voice. That's it. Like, I'm like, nah, man, you ain't no way you gonna tell me we not Africans. This is a spitting image of my nephew, and he's tall just like my nephew. It's just what my nephew. Only difference is my nephew has locks, and this brother got shorter hair. So it just don't make no difference.
Our doppelganger.
Right? You know what I'm saying? I'm sure I'm gonna go to South Africa bumping into someone look just like my mother, my cousin. Come on now. What we doing? Yeah. And then when you look up the migration patterns, like, you say you're Congolese, for example, Bantu. Bantu, we know the Bantu migration happened southward towards the east from the southeast of Nigeria, from West Africa. So even those that you call Bantu, even those people that you would claim from Central Africa, are still mixed at some point with other types of African. So, we're really just saying what someone is or where someone is from based on the ethnicities that still exist today, based on where they were when Columbus came, or Columbus's colleagues, colonizer colleagues came where they found them at. So, everybody's mixed, man. We all right. Dingbats, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hey, I'm 27. I am Black, and my pronouns are she, her.
All right, talk to us.
I just completely agreed with what you had up here about, like, no to everything but what's for us. And I feel like, I'm torn because I understand our community, like, rallying around a very historic potential candidate, but not really coming to the table with actual demands for us and what matters to us. And it's just really hard for me to, like, I'm not going to publicly go out and say anything against Kamala. At the end of the day, that's a Black woman. I support Black women doing their thing. And if she makes it there, I'm happy to see her there for us. But as a candidate for what is good for Black people, I'm really not seeing the platform. I'm really not seeing the policies. And I'm also not seeing us ask the right questions. Like, everybody's screaming, and I've been screaming for, what's going on over there in the Middle East and everything. But Kamala hasn't said a damn thing about Congo or Sudan. She hasn't said a damn thing about Haiti either. And that's a problem for me.
And so that's why I don't, whether she gets it, I just don't get on the Black woman train like that. Because first of all, she's not proven to me one way or the other in terms of being of our interest. I don't give a damn how much melanin you got in your skin. And so the next thing, that's something we got to stop doing. Upholding folks that's anti-Black. I don't give a damn who they are.
Right. And
And
that
you
was kind
see
of the
she
thing
ain't
that happened
said
with Obama.
nothing.
Not
Huh?
a damn thing. And that's kind of the same thing that happened with Obama too. Like I want to separate out, like, the historical significance of having that candidacy, because I do think it's important. I don't want to take away from that. Like, it is important for Black boys and Black girls to see that they can make it all the way to the top. However,
The top of what?
Top of what?
And now I'm not attacking you,
current
sis.
power
I'm
structure
just
that we
saying
have.
Oh
we
no,
gotta set
I don't want
another
my
standard.
I don't want my children at the top of the throne of the Grand Wizard of the
No.
Clan. I'm good.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
That's what
I hear
Stokely
you.
We've been
Carmichael said.
oppressors of the world. No, and I worked with Obama. I went to church with Obama. I worked on his first campaign for the state office. Trust me, you're not talking to a hater. Okay, but at least his father was Kenyan. His father was all the way Black. Okay, and number two, Obama never promised us anything. If people go back and listen, he never promised you shit. And I would just keep it 100 on that. Having worked in all of that, you know what I'm saying? He never said nothing he was gonna do. He was selected just like this one is being selected. And like I said in another live somewhere, how do you go from having an approval rating of 37% as vice president, and in 3 weeks you the second coming of Christ?
Yeah, that's
Make
what
that
I'm
make
confused
sense.
about too.
Make that make sense.
Because
So
that's
that
what
lets
I've
you
been
know
smart.
all this shit is a joke.
Yeah.
You know I love you, Smart Sister. I've seen you on Smitty's Live so many times, and all your points are just elite. But I've been thinking the same thing. I'm like, the way nobody was rallying around Biden, like the way they really had to dethrone this man, and I'm like, they switched him out for his VP. It's the same policy, same platform, same administration. Why is everybody going goo
Yes.
goo gaga crazy now? Like, she's, like you said, the second coming of Christ.
The second comment. And think about it. The clips I've seen from the DNC, Michelle Obama never mentioned Biden's name. See, that's what I'm just saying. Like you're saying, the fact that they let his old butt get up there and speak, then they done with him. See, that's how politics work.
Right.
There's no loyalty. Like they say, there's no permanent enemies and no permanent friends.
You know,
That's a fact.
you know what I
Think
was.
about it. And like I said, I wasn't jumping on you, sis. I'm just saying that we've got to look. It's not a flex.
No, I
She's
hear
not a
that.
flex
But people are on it like it is a
at
flex, and then
all.
if you say anything against it, it's like, oh, you're not for us. Is that? But she's not for us. Like,
Right.
Exactly.
like I'm not hating on her, and that's why I
Exactly. And for
preface what I
him,
said. It's like love a black woman from infinity to infinity. Like this isn't me knocking on her or anything. It's just like, yeah, no, I'm not excited. I'm not about to jump and race to the polls on November 5th to go vote for her. Like the fuck?
oh, it's just, it is what it
But I
is,
wanted to get
people.
your
Step
guys'
back a
opinion
minute.
around something of like, what, I mean, I know we're not a monolith and a lot of us have different opinions. I know so many black folks who are actually voting for the orange man. So that's that. But what would
Me
you say
too.
are like the biggest issues like pressing for our community that we would want addressed in a candidate? Like what are our demands?
The dismantling of America, the return of Africa to Africans at home and abroad, and the end of Western imperialism. I think we can start there.
And ooh wee.
That's a tall order.
It's not going to happen.
You know that.
It is why I'm saying, like, what's the point? Like, what are we talking about? I want the Klan to start loving us, guys. And if we vote really hard, the Klan might treat us nicely. Like, what are we talking about? It's not going to happen. There has to be a revolution. That's the only way. Big up to the Sahel region. Ibrahim Traore is leading the way right now. Let's just see what's going to happen.
Yes, sir.
Hey, peace.
Did you
United
see the video I
House of
sent you
Sankofa.
this
What up, sis?
morning?
What's that?
Did you see the video I sent about him this morning?
No, I didn't see it. No, you sent it
Oh,
in.
okay.
You sent
Check
it
it
in.
out later.
You gotta send me stuff in Discord. My inbox got so many honkies in it. I don't even
Oh,
check. Like it be. But I know
it's
you be
so
sending
much.
stuff in there. I be trying
Oh,
to check,
okay.
but it just be. Oh my goodness. African Advice Channel, man. I was just talking about you. You look like my nephew, bro. I seen your video. Yo, you look exactly like my nephew. Like we could be cousins, man. Like I don't know what's up with that. I showed my wife. She was like, "Is that your nephew?" I'm like, "No, this is African Advice Channel, and we African American as it get." I don't know how, but you look just like I do know how. We Africans, man. And he from I think you from Kenya, right? I forgot where you from, brother. But yeah, man, that's wild.
You know, brother legend. You know what? Number one, I think I sympathize as much as Kamala Harris is not a good candidate for black people. Has no real agenda to improve black people's condition in America. As much I sympathize with black people who fear like Trump and who are going to hold their nose and like vote for Kamala Harris, because I get the way like it's being framed, especially because like Trump is particularly kind of like revolting for a lot of people. So I get that. But what I push for a lot of black people to do is to have like fact-based opinions. Like even if you're going to hold your nose and vote for Kamala Harris, be honest about up to yourself, like, and be honest about what she is. She's a draconian cop, a former attorney general with a horrible record of how she treated black people, of a horrible record of protecting corrupt cops, a horrible record of attacks on cash bail, keeping like poor black people in prison for longer, and a horrible record against like of keeping people in prison longer than they should have been, like a horrible record against cannabis. Like she's a draconian attorney general cop. That's who she is. And I think even if you're going to vote for her, be honest about who she is. And I think like for me, I always push for black people to live in reality and to have fact-based opinions on like who you're talking about. And today was a sobering reminder of that fact of like, hey man, don't get caught up in the emotions, don't get caught up in like the cultural shifts. have a fact-based opinion. Because I was watching the clips from the Democratic National Convention today, and I was watching Obama, and that brother is smooth. I remember that brother is smooth. That brother is smooth. I understand how, like, just listening to him for like 10 minutes, I was like, yeah, I see how the world got duped into thinking this man was the savior in 2008. Because that brother is smooth, like, and the ancestors have gifted him with charisma upon charisma. And if you're not paying attention, you'll start, like, for a second I was thinking, oh, why doesn't this guy run? This guy's great, right? I had to remind myself who this guy who was speaking, because all I was seeing was this charismatic brother hitting point after point after point, and and then I had to click in my brain, like I had to take that sobering pill, like, no, this guy's a monster. And he has a horrible record. And, like, don't get caught up in charisma. Don't get caught up in connecting with people. Don't have a fact-based opinion on who these people are. That's all I ask for black people. And don't get caught up in people who can speak well. Don't get caught up in good looks. Don't get caught up in charisma. And don't be so fearful of Trump. And Trump is a disgusting, revolting human being. But don't get so caught up in fearing Trump that you make Kamala Harris other than what she is, which is a slightly less evil alternative to the orange man. That's all she is.
Absolutely.
I really don't even view her as less slightly evil, honestly. Like, I mean,
Trump is pretty wild.
He is, but it was really, I'm struggling. Like, I understand the whole, like, push with the abortion care and all of that, but that's really the only thing that Democrats are really running on. And, like, I do think that's pretty divisive, especially for our community. I have a really mixed feelings about it personally. So that's really what's keeping me back from the polls.
How you feel about Trump saying that he wants to give police officers full immunity? For me, that's an insane.
They don't have full immunity now.
Got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's different between that and now?
I'm telling you, man. Listen, it's Pepsi and Coke. That's the difference. Same thing.
I think it's insane to want legalized full immunity, like, on paper.
I mean, but what does it matter whether it's on paper or not?
They're doing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what's on paper.
I think
It's the written and the unwritten, honey.
I think there's definitely a degree of emboldening, even obviously if it doesn't change anything. I think it could change the culture of emboldening, of like,
If I'm gonna smack you, would you rather I tell you first or I just do it? That's the difference.
That's a fair question.
That's the difference. It's like Trump is just letting us know it's gonna be in the law now. But Kamala is like, oh no, it's not gonna be in the law. We're gonna make y'all feel. We're gonna give you little symbolic achievements, and I'm the first black woman, yay! You know, and she's gonna continue to do like Obama and drop. Obama, I just saw a statistic that said Obama dropped every 2 minutes for 8 years of his presidency. Every 2 minutes.
Drone strike bomber.
Yes, every 2 minutes. This man was Dr. Evil.
Obama and the military-industrial complex go together real bad.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, that's why he had Hillary in there.
Exactly. My point is, like, what are we expecting from these people?
Racism, white supremacy, and the continuation of Western
And that's
imperialism.
why I'm struggling with, like, the whole public lynchings going on. If a black person, or really just anybody at this point, is like, yeah, no, I'm not really that excited for Kamala, I'm not going to vote for her. Like,
what do they do whenever a buck steps out of line? You know what a buck is?
Right.
Like someone that an enslaved person that wasn't obedient. When they step out of line, they make an example of them. So they gonna break
buck breaking plantations. They had whole plantations dedicated to that.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like now. And it's kind of just like, I don't think there's anything wrong with not wanting to vote for her. I really don't. I'm not understanding the whole discourse around like shaming and bullying people who aren't going to vote for her. I'm not with the forcing people and telling people what to do either. I say if you want to play in the game, you know, play games. It's a game anyway, so you're just playing the game.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. If I was in the US, I wouldn't be voting for Kamala Harris either, because like I know what she is. However, I side eye black people who are like F Kamala Harris, and then like they want to go vote for Trump. That's where like that's where I'm like,
yeah, that's weird.
I'm just like you missed the train stop, mate. Like how did
Because those are the people that are saying, yes, slap me, tell me, and then do it. Yes.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm just like, hey, I'm all behind you. If we're having logical critiques of Kamala Harris, who she is and her record and what she represents in terms of white supremacy, I'm with you 10 toes down. But don't do that critique. Don't do a full critique of Kamala Harris and then pivot to Trump. That's that's insane.
Yeah, that's definitely
Which
weird.
he's already shown you what all they gonna do, and that's what kills me too. Everybody, the 2025 project. Well, what's the Democratic 2025 plan?
Exactly.
Right.
Okay,
Where
we don't like them and the think tank that came up with the 2025 plan because dumbass didn't. Okay, then where's the Democratic antidote? Or what
That's what I'm
their
saying.
things
They're
they're putting on
always
paper
scaring
that they're
us.
gonna do?
They're always scaring us. This is my biggest issue with the Democratic Party is that it's always like fear-based. Like they're not running on anything. They're just running against something. But you're not actually mobilizing people to vote for anything. And respectfully, like I've looked into Project 2025 and like I'm really looking for the part where we're gonna all go back on the plantation. Like we're not already on a plantation. Like I'm just struggling to understand what is so bad about it that isn't already in existence today.
Thank you. Bingo.
Well,
and if this is America, then don't we have rights? I mean, how could he become a dictator? I mean, how could he put us on a boat and ship us back? This is America. That's not who we are. I keep hearing that. And it's like, so what are you doing here?
Yeah, like her whole thing about like we
what's
won't
the
go back.
difference?
I'm like, go back to what? Did we not all live through Trump's presidency? If you didn't die from COVID? Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, she need to go back to washing them greens in the tub. That's what she needs to go back to.
Y'all, we got somebody up here that didn't get a chance to talk. Issues of something. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I'm 28. I'm African American and she, her.
All right, talk to us.
Okay, so I didn't see the prompt at first. I wanted to. I had a question about something you said, but I'm going to answer the prompt first to be respectful. I definitely agree with the prompt 100% because, Democrat, Republican, because a lot of times we are expecting to elect leaders, even on a local level, to fix problems that we only can fix as a unit. You literally, all the problems that we have, you cannot vote for someone to come in and fix it because it's all on an individual level, like what we have to do as a community and working and even internationally with other parts of the diaspora. No one can be elected to do that. We have to do the work. So all of this believing in Kamala to come and redeem and resurrect, it's null and void. We'll never get to the greatness that our ancestors wanted us to get to by voting. It's just neither here nor there. Pro-Israel, pro-Palestine. Look, they say no, not my monkey, not my show. And then on top of that, we don't have power enough to even deal with that in the first place. I think if we build ourselves up, then we can start coming to, other people's aid and trying to do this and that if we feel it in our heart. But right now, we ain't got the muscle to flex with that. Let's leave that alone and get back to the issue. But I had a question. And surprisingly, from being on TikTok, I have learned that people, I don't know, I grew up in a black city and my dad was like really pro-black. And then he was also like, I never looked at it as Pan-Africanist, Pan-Africanist. I just thought that was like black pride growing up. So he would always tell us about like the resources and how they're being done wrong, and how we have to, come together to get them back what they was was taken from them, and also get what we supposed to get. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up with that sentiment, and then getting on TikTok, I've noticed like a lot of, well, not a lot, I don't know how many, but just African Americans don't really share in that sentiment. And then I've also seen Africans say, a lot of Africans on the internet say, we're not African, we need to stay over here, don't come over there, they don't want us to help build their stuff up. And then I've even seen recently African people saying that we're colonizers, and that just really took me back. So I just want to ask you, because I know I heard you say like we are like basically, you was talking about the continent of Africa, like that's our home, like we're owed that. Do you feel like that even with some of their sentiments being like they don't want us over there, like we're colonizing and westernizing their countries? And just your take on that.
So yeah, the internet is not reality, and reality is a lot different. I know it's at least 5, but I forgot. Brother Africa Debunked. Do you know how many flags use the RBG colorway?
Oh, I
You know
think
the
in terms of like because most African flags are either the RBG, either have the RBG as its template, or the Pan-Africanist Ethiopian flag as its template. So
yeah,
I think about half of all of African flags are
yeah,
either the red, black, and green, or the red, yellow, and green. So
yeah.
both of them are both based. So I think it's literally half of all of Africa's flags are based on that.
Okay. Do you hear that, Issues? So basically, what he's saying is Pan-Africanism is the ideology, the objective, the goal of unifying all African people. The quote that I love from Marcus Garvey is Africa for the Africans at home and abroad. So we're the abroad, right? We're the away team. But people on the continent, that's the home team. And so basically, they all, well, not they all, but half of Africa in their flags, their national flags that they wave around, use the colors of the Pan-African flag or the Ethiopian flag, which was also part of Pan-Africanism. Like that's what you see Bob Marley in the red, yellow, and green. So that should tell that right there at least starts to show you where a lot of the sentiment lies towards whether or not African Americans are truly African or not. You also see it in how they dress. If you look at their culture, a lot of African American influence can be seen on the continent now. Like, a lot of them grew up with 50 Cent just like we did. I'm not sure how old you are. I think you say you're 28, so you should know a little bit about 50 Cent. I don't know how much. You kind of young. But anyway, yeah, you see our culture there. And I've been to several hoods in America, and I got people all across America, and we all got some African friends, and ain't nobody treat them like they was different. It was just, y'all parents are stricter, I don't know, y'all be studying real hard, but that's about it. We don't eat the same kind of rice. That's about it.
And that's beautiful because, my question before I get to that, so you were talking about the RBG, like the colors, and those colors, I mean, them making the flags, those colors, that's an intentional symbol of like uniting, is what you're saying?
Yes. Red, black, and green. Red is for the blood of our people. Black is because of who we are. Green is for the green of Africa. You could also look at it as land, history, and culture. Like John Henry Clark likes to put it, the proper name of a people. Black will tell you how you look. It don't tell you who you are. The proper name of a people always relates to land, history, and culture. So those are the 3 things we share in common going back thousands of years. We've only been in oppression 400, 500 years, depending on how you're counting. But for thousands of years, I mean, you could even say 1,000 years if you go back to the Arab slave trade, the Eastern slave trade. But for tens of thousands of eons, going back to the beginning of humanity, our people has been on that continent. That is our land. And, no white man can change that. Now, of course, there are going to be some Africans, as Kwame Nkrumah, a great Pan-African leader, said, that they're going to grow more accustomed to the 21 pew pew salute than they will their shared identity. I mean, he said it much better than how I just said it, but the 21 pew pew salute is basically saying that there are going to be Africans that become more prideful about their nation than their race. And Kwame Nkrumah didn't want that to happen. He was a Pan-African. He didn't want us to start to form an identity around, Nigeria, for example, was built to be a plantation. Like it was literally a company. If you look up the history of Nigeria, it was a company. It was not meant to be a country. It was named after a white woman. I think her name was Karen. I'm not sure. Someone else might know, but it might not have been. I might be making that part up. Was her name Karen?
No, I think.
Oh, okay, I might be tripping.
It was the girlfriend. It was the girlfriend of Lord Lugard, who was the colonial. Was basically the colonial appointee over Nigeria. So yeah,
she was a Karen though, but I don't know if that was. I don't think that was a name, but someone else in history had a name Karen.
It just shows you how like frivolous the name was. Like this is the name comes from the pillow talk of the colonizers, like babes. That is
crazy.
That's where Nigeria comes from.
Who cares?
Is an insane origin. But I think sister was saying in terms of like social media. So sister said she was you're African American, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
But like I think even if for any African American, I'm sure any who grew up in Black American culture, that like the representatives from your community that come onto TikTok are not representative of the wider Black American community. That this place, unfortunately, is a beacon for some of the most bizarre and extreme ideas that are not necessarily representative of a community consensus. Like if you'd only ever seen Black Americans on TikTok, you would think that like, I don't know, maybe 10%, 50% of Black Americans believe that they're indigenous to the USA. You would think that that was a super popular ideology that like most people believe in. Whereas whereas you go like outside, when you touch grass and go outside into the real world, that is a crazy person's belief system. Like you go to the average Black American and tell them that they're the indigenous Black Native American, you can tell you that they're going to look at you like you're an insane person. Mm-hmm. Likewise, like some of these Africans who come onto TikTok Live, who have been probably radicalized by some of these kind of interactions that they've had with people, and like are saying crazy things that are not necessarily representative of Africa. Because like once you come off of TikTok, and actually if you ever go and visit Africa, like Africa will embrace you in a way that will probably be bizarre to you, because if you've lived your whole life in the West and you've always been the other, going to Africa, it will probably be a breath of fresh air, and will hit parts of your soul and will give you an emotional experience that you haven't had. Because like I think most people, if you've spent your whole life in the USA or in the West, you've never felt what it's like just to be another human being. And I think there's significant value in that.
There is.
Right. And how can you take your little friend that don't like Africans to speak for a continent of 1 billion people? Are you serious?
That's a lot of people.
The 2 or 3 little friends you got don't represent 48 million Black people here in the United States. Those anecdotal experiences don't speak for all people. It's insane to me.
And I think
most people don't want to admit it's 1 billion people on the continent either.
Mm-hmm.
I think my question wasn't necessarily more so about if it's true or not, because I think I don't know, since like 2018 now I've been looking at a lot of like travel vlogs of Black people in Africa, and I have seen like them do like interviews in different countries in Africa, and I always found it interesting. So I wouldn't say necessarily that I think that's how all of them think. I was just saying, because I've seen people come up on the panel and they've expressed
Yeah.
their opinions. I was just more so saying, like, what was your opinion on
Was
the
it?
topic of it? You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
we understand, sister. Was it you that said you knew people that was voting for brothers that was voting for Trump or sisters? Who said
No,
that?
it wasn't me, but I did know.
Oh, that was Dingbats. Okay. Well, it's pretty much the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I know some brothers and sisters voting for Trump, but I know most of us gonna vote for Kamala if we gonna vote at all. Because I know black people love Democrats like white on rice. You know what I'm saying? like we love them Democrats. We love Democrats. We love yams
And Jesus, and we love Jesus.
Beyonce.
And mac and cheese.
You know what I'm saying? Not all of us love mac and cheese. All right. All of us love mac and cheese, but we all can agree Jamaican mac and cheese is the worst. So whatever they got going on in Jamaica,
100%.
they can keep that down there. I don't know what that dry ass macaroni pie with the little cheese on top. Y'all need to do something about this. I don't know about the Jamaicans, man. Y'all got everything else. You know what I'm saying? Y'all women is fired, man. Big up to the Jamaican sisters. Oh my. Anyway, don't let my wife hear
Now,
that
their
because
flag represents another group in Africa too. I thought, right? The black, the green, and the yellow. That
their flag,
I
the
seemed like I
Jamaican
read
flag.
something. Yeah, the colors where theirs came from.
I mean, basically,
This,
it's the Pan African and Ethiopian flag colors. It's because usually it's red, yellow, and green, or red, black, and green. They
right,
just remove the red from it, and they have black, yellow,
right,
green. But
yellow, right.
they're the
Okay.
only flag in the world. Jamaican flag is the only flag in the world without red, white, or blue. It's the only one. You can't think of another one. It's the only one. Every other flag has at least red, white, or blue.
That's crazy. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. Listen. I thought days on this, and I seen it on Twitter first, so I know someone else thought about it before they tweeted that. But then I'm racking my brain like, nah, bruh, it's the only one. It's crazy. All right, Tony Watts, give us your age, race, and pronouns. Nah, that got white in it. Bahamas got white in it. Red, white, and blue. They don't got neither of those.
I'm black. He, him. Old as hell. Okay.
All right.
This Democrats and Republicans, I don't get it. They're the same people, right? So I mean, what's the big thing about Democrats and Republicans?
It's like the Crips and the Bloods for white people.
But are we part of that though? Really?
Nope.
We're not part of that. I mean, a lot of times, I mean, I vote, you know what I'm saying, but hell, sometimes you can just like flip a coin, you know what I'm saying? Because they all lying to you. And then you vote for somebody because they got the same color as you, and then, you know, they turn out to be a bigger asshole than anybody, you know what I mean? It's the system. It's not who you vote for, it's the system. It don't matter who's in charge. One politician can't do nothing by himself. If he rock the boat, they're gonna get rid of him, right?
Yep. They'll
That's
impeach him immediately.
Just like in Illinois, they got this man called J.B. Pritzker, right? This man a billionaire, been a billionaire. Why does he want to be the governor of Illinois? What's his reason?
Evade taxes, maybe.
I don't know. This man got all the money in the world, but
Yeah.
he got a job that pay what? 200,000 a year or whatever. Make it make sense to me.
Yeah, I can't tell you the mind of a billionaire. I've never been one.
I suspect what is appealing about the position, obviously, isn't the salary. It's the power, I suspect. It's the power to pass state laws. It's the power to set legislature. It's the power to, make life easier for his class of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
It can't be for him. I mean, he got everything in life he wants, I guess. So evidently, I guess being a billionaire is not enough for you, right?
No.
Damn.
Yeah, I've met billionaires in my walk of life, and they seem pretty stressed out too. Sometimes they're not all together. I've met one black man though. He's a multi-millionaire. He's not a billionaire, but he's on his way probably. I don't know where he's at now, but back then he was doing pretty well, and he was the calmest man I ever met in my life. Like a grenade could go off, and he just would calmly exit the room. Like he was so calm. It was like he didn't feel anything. I don't know what that was about, but all the white billionaires that I've met, I've met about a handful, and yeah, they seem pretty, about as stressed out as everybody else. It's almost like they don't have $1 billion.
No problems.
One
I
of them
truly
bought me
believe
and my
that.
wife pizza one time. That was it's like a truffle pizza. But yeah, I got stories. I can't imagine what they think. Like I've always wondered that. Like, what do you have on your mind, like that you can't handle with your bank account, like But oh yeah, the one that bought us pizza, he got it from his family. So he got it from. It was passed down to him. He had a Rolls Royce and didn't know the brand of the car that he had. I'll never forget it. He didn't know he had a Rolls Royce. Like
it was just a car to him. It was just
yeah.
a car.
I was in a barber shop, and yeah, he was getting a haircut from this dude, and he was like, yeah, like someone asked him like, what kind of car was that, and he was like, I don't know. He didn't even know, bro. And we went out like, yo, this is a Rolls Royce. Like he don't know, cause he didn't care. He didn't give a damn.
It was a car.
Yeah, it's just a car. I'll never forget that.
Well, he sounded like he was down to earth.
He was really fat and white, and he walked with a cane, and he had like blisters all over him. I don't know what those were. I would not shake his hand. It looked like the devil was eating him from the inside out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he was like in his 40s, but he looked like he was in his 50s, 60s. And yeah, he was the epitome of white supremacy. Just,
Money can't buy good health. Money can't buy you good health.
You know what I'm saying? Some things I guess are just incurable, but yeah, that was the thing. It was an experience I won't forget. Which is a shame, right? Because you meet a billionaire and you think of that, you remember that for the rest of your life as if there's some like defining moment, when they're just a regular fucking person that has dollars that should have went to your ancestors so long ago. It's wild.
Brother Legend. So
The money
there was a
cursed
thing,
him,
right?
huh? The money
There was
cursed
a
him.
thing. Yeah, real quick, man. So there was the thing where the scientists had discovered a means of pretty much giving back the youthful appearance to mice, right? They're turning back the clock for mice, and I think about the dangerous implications of that. You know what I mean? Especially with the rich involved, because it's like they're never going to leave the earth and forever enforce upon us the systems of exploitations. So it's just something to kind of think about.
So so you're saying rich people are never going to leave the earth? Like they're not going to
Yes.
go to space?
Well, when I mean leave the earth, I mean they're never going to. I know that right now they're using the system to like transfer their wealth, but the fact of the matter is, they're gonna stay even longer on this planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they do live a long time. They can afford it. Urban Born, what's up? Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
He, him, his, peace and Pan-Africanism, brother. Listen, I'm
Peace.
based in Europe, and I want to give you your flowers before I even say anything. Listen, I'm not here trying to create some bit of controversy, but I believe if there's any other person who deserves coverage and being pushed out there, I would rather have you than the brother who screams no bunnies all the time.
Dr. Umar?
Yeah, because listen, man, I'm in tech, and I want to base my conversation, and I'll kind of echo trying to answer the sister who came before, trying to ask how we can integrate ourselves between the black diaspora. There was a black tech convention last year. If you're familiar with a guy called Robert Smith, he's black American. I don't know how he identifies himself, whether African American, whether FBA, but all I know is black American. He's in Equity Visa something.
I've never heard anyone in real life call themselves FBA. I've only heard African American or black. Yeah.
So the brother is like the CEO of Visa Equity Partners. It sells software, and he actually met a billionaire from Africa called Aliko Dangote. So how I know this information away from what we saw on TV, I didn't manage to fly to the US because I had some bit of visa issues, but a friend of mine who I work with happened to attend a conference. There were a few students from Spelman College. I don't know how that connection came about. I don't know whether Spelman is into tech as well, but many students from MIT. So we raised a few issues. Some of us happened to call in via Zoom calls, and because how tech conferences are a bit boring, so there's not much there. There's no Megan Thee Stallion trucking on stage or Kid Rock, whatever. So I myself, I told a friend of mine to raise a question. So how do we get, let's say, black-owned applications to be dancing on the algorithms? Like how, let's say, a new app comes on scene and it's being pushed around. For example, I'm going to give an example. Amazon, right? So what's the number one selling app when you want to buy something door to door, country, overseas, and everything? Because when Amazon came in, there goes the death of DHL and all these other apps or these other companies that were selling products worldwide. That is Amazon. So a friend of mine a couple of years ago, we tried to come up with an app. So I'm like, let me name the app called Black. Now, little did I know that the app already existed. So when I logged into Google Play, I see the word Black. So I look on the developers. Actually, the app was so poorly done. When I contacted the developers, they asked me, what kind of black are you? I'm like, bro, I'm black. I'm African. I'm based in Europe. They're like, nah, this is home-based. It's in the US. I'm like, okay. So the way I look at your app, the way you guys build up your app, it cannot compete on the world market. Like it cannot even be recommended, not even on iOS or Google Play. So I happened to see this guy. He was actually selling it to a Chinese before he sells it to us. He felt like us Africans or be black people outside America, we cannot buy this app to develop it further because our intentions were simple. I want to buy some merchandise developed by a brother in Chicago, like support local black businesses. But when they are on Amazon, these products are not pushed. Like when you open Amazon app right now, I can dare you, brother, open Amazon app right now. Just go for any black-owned product. It's not even listed. Like the algorithms, you push them down. You have to be knowing the specific name of that product. So when they asked Robert A. Smith about the equity thing, and the brother danced around the whole subject, like, bro, you dealing in software. You know how these things work. How do we get black products, black applications to be pushed? Let's if we can put pressure on these big software companies, let's say like Google, Play Store, and all these other things to be putting our apps there so that these people get to have market. The brother just kept quiet. Recently, Elon Musk is just laid a lawsuit. I think he's gonna sue for advertisers not ditching his company. And this is the same brother who was telling advertisers to go fuck off. Now, why am I saying this, brother? Now, two things can be true. Yes, the internet is not a raw place, but it's a powerful place as well. Now, there's a brother from the UK. I had his ideas. He's a very smart brother. I don't know what he does, but he looks like a sane brother. Now, there is a brother who's going to be smart, but has some bit of like animosity on his heart. He's hearing the likes of Tariq Nasheed calling Africans smelly, Jamaicans smelly, all these other people from the diaspora smelly. Now, how do you expect a brother to come on board and be like, hey, Tariq, you're selling your deodorant. I have market. We can share it. That is how these white people, let me tell you something, brother. White people, a German, a Swedish, they can never say, oh, you're Swedish. Fuck that. You're white, you're white. That is how they're going to market their products. When they're referring to the rest of the world, they never mention Africa or South America. It's always Europe, Australia, and the US. And when talking about the US, they're talking about the white US. Now, that's where my problem comes with. Now, let me just conclude by saying this. I feel like I'm not even trying to advocate for Kamala or Trump here, but sometimes you gotta embrace the system. Now, I don't know much about PACs in the US, but I think there's a black PAC. Now, I don't know whether it's on the same level with IPAC or anything, but I feel like when you guys have the likes of Jasmine Crockett, now those are the leaders you have to put on some bit of pressure, like to reach out to take young tech, black techs, to present their ideas, because this is the only chance. Now, you never had a chance with Barack Obama, whether it's going to be Trump or this other lady that is coming in, the Senate and all these other congresswomen you're having, for as long as they're black. Black tech, all these other black developers need to put pressure on their congresswomen and congressmen to push their certain things into legislation. I'm telling you, you don't need white America. All you need is just to have your product black owned. You know, one thing that is more selling in the world, something that has a label made in the US. This brother from the UK can tell you, I don't know how long he stayed in the UK, but where I come from, apparently I'm in Sweden, but from my home country in Uganda, you could be having an Air Jordan used, almost worn out, with a word made in the US. It's gonna sell out faster than a brand new shoe from anywhere in the world, and that's facts. Now, you could look at products like Tidal. Tidal is black owned by Jay-Z. I'm gonna tell you, when you're in Africa,
It's not. Well, he's a partial owner. He don't own the whole thing.
so he's a partial owner, right?
Yeah, he does
When you travel to
partnerships.
Africa, if you board right now plane, you go to Africa, and let's say you want to download Tidal, it's not even recommended fast. It's gonna be Spotify, Apple Music, and all these other things. Why? So all I'm saying is, I feel like you guys may not be giving the fuck about the presidency, but I feel like with the way you're going on with your statesmen, congressmen, whatever you call local leaders, I think something needs to be done. And tech is all the way. I'm in cybersecurity. I know about stocks. I'm not so good at crypto, but these people are getting rich off things that your ancestors built. I don't have a take in whatever struggle you guys are going on, but what affects you affects me. Now, if you came up with a product, why would I go to a Brandon or Mark Robinson, or I want to buy from a fellow brother? That's all I'm saying. But how do we push that? We could talk on the internet and sleep for the next 50 years. Nothing is going to get done. We can lobby underground. We could be mad at the Israelites and all these Jews, but they're doing their thing in a very smart way. They're pressure.
Not going through what we're going through.
Exactly. And I feel like it's high time maybe we get some bit of like blackmail on these motherfuckers. Maybe that's when they're going to push something for black people, because that's how these Jews are achieving.
That's probably the only way.
I'm telling you, bro. That's how.
No, you're right. Listen, that's probably the only way. They haven't been scared like that in a while. It's the anniversary of Nat Turner's rebellion. So, yeah, you're right. That's probably the only time we'll get some progress. But we got to remember that the system of capitalism that you're saying we need to somehow fix and be able to thrive in and reap benefits from is exploitative of our own people. It's even in not only just the labor force of black people in America, the labor force in prisons as well, but also the Congolese resources and the South African resources and the Rwandan resources, or how they get resources from Congo and take them through.
Brother, let me just say one more thing before I hang up. Now, there is a conference coming up. It's a Black Tech. It's going to be in Atlanta. I don't want to say things for the sake of saying things. Anyone right now, you can look it up. Do you know who are the keynote speakers when it comes to tech and industry? Everybody on that panel is fucking white.
Yeah.
You can imagine it.
I think what you're thinking, and this is what John Henrik Clarke says, is black people think of everything in its purest form. So when white people tell us they believe in Jesus, we believe it. We're like, yes, Jesus preaches a message of being good and righteous and loving everyone, loving your neighbor, turning the other cheek. Yes, this is a wholesome message that I can agree with. White people are laughing and saying, we ain't going to actually practice that shit. We're going to tell you to practice that shit, and we're going to continue to exploit your naive ass. And the same thing with democracy. They say, whoever gets the most votes wins, and black people hear this, we're like, yeah. So that means all we have to do is vote really hard, and we'll get people in charge. And how do you lose with the popular vote? How do you lose with the popular vote in democracy? If we have a democracy, how do you have the popular vote, meaning the most people voted for you, and you still lose? That don't make sense.
You come up with this thing called the Electoral College.
Right. And so that makes it no longer a democracy. And that means that there's something else going on. And this is what happens. Black people believe in democracy, and they say, we ain't going to follow that shit. We're going to use that as an excuse to continue to manipulate the system and have you believe you didn't vote hard enough. That's why you're getting these consequences. And so the same thing with capitalism. We think that there's some way that we just need to invent a better product and do a certain thing. No, it is rigged. At this point, we don't know how broke we are. There is a graph that shows you the average income of a regular person is this much. Like, I don't know if you can see my hands, like this much. It's a graph. I wish if I went to another screen, my live would pause, so I can't do it. But there's a graph where it'll show you the wealth gap between the average person right here, right? And then the top 1%, the bar would go off of the screen. It is 100%. Ridiculous how much richer they are. They are so rich that they control the economy. 1% of the country owns 50% of the nation's wealth. So they are the ones that control capitalism, not us. It don't matter what product we make, whatever product they choose, and whatever Negro is going to follow along with their plan is the one that's going to have the product that's doing the best. That's how that works. So we can, however, build something independent of their system, backed by grassroots and backed by black people and black people putting their money together. Yes, we could use our money as a weapon. We could weaponize our money. Every time we've done that in the past, they've sabotaged us. But our real wealth is in the continent of Africa, and our real wealth will start to flow when Africa gets their shit together. Like you said, I don't have a dog in the fight, but what affects Africa affects me. So if Africa could throw the colonizers off their land, get back to sovereignty and having control of their resources, building an economy, building an African dollar, that they can bring those African dollars backed by $143 trillion worth of resources back to the United States. And now we have black-owned banks by African people in black communities where we can get loans because black people run this. We know that we can buy houses and the dollar is more is better priced than the American dollar. We will start to see black people will start to prosper because now we're not dependent on our oppressors' economy for us to get rich.
This was thought
there's
of
some bit of
a
progress.
long time ago, and they got rid of him. They unalived him.
Yeah, I know they always do that. Yeah.
Bro,
Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar
there has been
Gaddafi.
some bit of progress. I've seen a few of you guys go to West Africa, putting up villages and everything, coming up with apartments. But here is my thing. I think you can start slow. You don't have to go full scale, full blown war when you're trying to entrench the system and beat the system. Because when Gaddafi tried to bring up the African dollar out, they took him out. I mean, it was Hillary Clinton who took him out. So I feel like the new way to go about this is that we should embrace the normal. That's what they call the normal. For example, I'm going to give an example. Anyone who knows about this whole nonsense of Bitcoin and everything. So there was Dogecoin. I have a friend of mine in Nigeria. So when he was buying, the rate at which he was buying, I mean, the way these guys look at Africa, they were actually, I don't know the exact word to use, but they were kind of like lowballing him when they are buying his coins. So here's the thing. Invest in Africa, that is an idea. But I think the best idea is to create a market base. That is the most important thing. Brother, I'm black. You're not going to find me in blazers 24/7. I want to rock black hair. I want to rock black-owned products. But how do you get that product? From the US? Because much as we may say,
Gotta get it from
the
Africa.
US is still the number one producer in the whole world. But
why is that though? You're talking about white people. So that's what I'm saying. You're not talking about African Americans. You're talking about either you're talking about African Americans participating in white people's system, or you're talking about white people.
Because I'm talking about. Listen, okay. In a nutshell, I'm talking about the US as a whole when it comes to the market base. But when I'm talking about product, I want to buy a product from a brother who's just speaking right now. Maybe you're making some designer stuff. You have your name on it. I want to, because when you look at Louis, what's so much about Louis Vuitton? I'm literally putting on a white man name.
But I think that's making. I understand. But you're saying buying stuff from African Americans, and I feel like because African Americans have, like, we're the wealthiest Africans on the planet. So
exactly,
the money flow needs to go to Africa, not the money flow. You don't need to be buying from African Americans. African Americans need to be buying from Africans. We need to buy. We need to buy shea butter from Lake Retba in Senegal and bring that to America to make our products to sell to other African Americans and even white people if they want, so that our community is able to thrive, but the resources in our economy is still backed by people in Africa. That way the money is flowing towards the continent. We don't need Africans paying us.
You could use the 2 foot the 2 foot idea. You don't need to exactly dish the American system. You could as well put 1 foot in the US and 1 foot in Africa. Because
we can't do that.
But
see, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I know. You can't do that,
argument, bro. But here's my argument, bro. As soon as you an African American dish the American food and base yourself in Africa, there's something you're losing. You need to take advantage of the system, much as you want to.
No. Okay, all right. You know who says that? You know who says that idea? It's funny that you say this. You brought up Tariq Nasheed as if he was a villain because Tariq Nasheed and the FBA and y'all are not black, y'all are not like us. You know how the FBA people talk. Look up Claude Anderson. Claude Anderson has an idea called Black Powernomics. And what you're saying is in alignment with what he says. And he's just as crazy as Tariq Nasheed, and will call you out your name for being an African too. so this is what I'm trying to tell you. You can't have masses wealth and make it work to your benefit as a slave. We are still in bondage. We are still oppressed. We can't benefit from our own oppression and while we're oppressed. Like, the oppression needs to either if the oppression ends, then we can start to talk about participating in the American economy. Because oppression is over, we can stand up and we can do what we got to do. But in order for us to no longer be oppressed, America has to fall as we know it, and Africa needs to rise. We in the diaspora, like, I think it's backwards. I'm not talking about you, but I've heard this rhetoric from other people. It's backwards to say that Africa won't be liberated until African Americans do something. We're
No,
waiting on y'all.
okay,
Y'all
so
Africans need to stand up and build our home base. The Italians, the Jews, the Chinese, everyone else that you brought up, the Koreans, the Indians, they all have one thing in common. There's a reason that white supremacy gets along with them better than us. You know what that is? They have a power base outside of America. We cannot build an economic power base in America and then still ask America to respect us. They're not. They're going to say, you need us. What you
okay, so
going to do without
let me
us?
just ask you, and I'm not asking you to challenge you. I want to learn. Maybe I want to hear your side of this. So, what do you call the mass migration of African Americans settling in West Africa, coming up with villages, apartments, real estate? Do you see that slow progress? Let's say, give it a time span. Would it be like 20 years, 50 years from now to say maybe West Africa now has become, let's say, like a capital base, or maybe like a base for African Americans, maybe to situate something? Do you see that idea working, or like just give me your 2 thoughts on it?
The Africans, like I said, the money needs to flow from African Americans to the Africans. But with what you're saying, there is a possibility of gentrification happening and inflation of prices in West Africa if it's uncontrolled, which it probably will be because West Africa is still heavily colonized. As long as Nigeria still means nigger area in Latin, it is going to be a colony. I don't see it as a true African country until they have thrown off their colonizers' names and thrown out Tinubu, that puppet. I'm going to see them as an extension of British colonialism. But other African Americans going there, I think is good. But we don't want all African Americans going back to Africa. That's not a good idea. I think
Exactly.
we want the ones that are conscious, that understand. They don't want to go there and be colonizers. But right now, African Americans are so poisoned by the indoctrination of the West that we would just go there and F everything up. So, and Africans are doing a pretty good job at effing things up themselves. So don't get it wrong. Y'all got some problematic people too in Africa, but we're just going to make the problem a lot worse with some of the people I know. Some of the people I know need to stay their ass on the plantation. They can't come with us. Maybe the next generation, but not today. But I think, like I said, I'm
Yeah,
going to go to
but
Africa.
brother,
I
thank you
plan
for
on going
being
to
smart.
Africa.
One
Yeah.
thing I respect about you is you don't talk out of emotion. How you come about with your points, you seem like a land brother. It's one thing to go to school, and it's one thing to be a land brother. So not everybody who goes to school knows what they're talking about. So I appreciate. I'm gonna give you your flash, bro. I'm gonna log out for now. I'm trying to catch up with something here,
Okay.
but let this conversation keep flowing. And to every African American brother on this space who believes in Pan Africanism, we love you, bro. Fuck this all internet beef, all this, that's who's better. Nah, I'll never
Absolutely.
be part of that conversation.
All right. Ashe. One love.
I love, bro.
All right, y'all. I got a meeting. You know me. I love TikTok, love talking with y'all, but I have to go and do the work of my people. I've been doing that a lot lately, so that's why y'all haven't seen me live as much. I think it's funny because a lot of people copy my lives, and I see people are running out of topics. Don't come up on here. So some people I don't know. I'm seeing the lives deteriorate. Y'all just arguing, calling each other out, each other naming. I'm like, I'm listening. I still be listening. I'll be like, man, have we strayed? I need to go back to doing my interracial dating because some of y'all, I don't know if y'all started having bunnies since I've been missing or what, but some of y'all talking different than when I was on here every day. But yeah, so I might be back tonight, but I gotta go to this meeting. No, this is a tech meeting, y'all. So we're building Sankofapedia. If you want to know more about Sankofapedia, check it out. There's a video on my page. Sankofapedia is an Afrocentric online encyclopedia like Wikipedia, but it's going to tell world history from an Afrocentric point of view. So it's something like you've never seen before. It's going to be a very powerful tool in teaching Pan-Africanism and Afrocentrism. And I can't even express to you how powerful this is going to be, because we're doing some things with graphs and data that has never been done as it relates to African people and African history ever before. Like, we're doing some things that I'm just like, you can't find this anywhere else. So, all right, one love, peace and Pan-Africanism, Black loss, Black liberation, all Black people, free Congo, free Sudan, Haiti, South Africa, Libya, brothers and sisters in Zimbabwe, brothers and sisters in Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Brazil, the United States, my brothers and sisters, African Americans, East Coast, West Coast. One love, y'all. Catch y'all tomorrow.